Hi, my name is Anna Aguirre, and a little bit of my personal history and my reason why for teaching is because I want to be able to provide students with a safe place for them to know that it's okay to make mistakes and to learn from them. And also want to encourage students to express and to embrace the different cultures that they come from. I feel like a lot of times society asks us to suppress our cultures and focus on one. And I think it shouldn't be like that. I think we should teach students to embrace their different cultures and learn from the cultures around them. I also think that it's important to create a space where students get a sense of identity, showing them that they are represented in the classroom and that they are appreciated is a very important task that teachers should focus on in the classroom. I also think I also want to go into the with younger kids with that elementary area because I think that's an important place where you teach students the foundations of learning and teach them the to want to keep learning. And I think that's a very important thing because it can be overwhelming for students and it can be discouraging because they have to do a lot of standardized testing and a lot of different assessments that kind of are discouraging because they feel like, oh, maybe they're not smart enough, that they're not passing, or maybe that they're just not understanding the information. But it's important to teach students that everyone learns at their own pace and everyone has different steps of learning information. So a standardized test is not the only way to gauge what they've learned. Any type of growth is growth, whether it's small or big, and it should be acknowledged in the classroom. And I think it's important that teachers um, make a positive impact for students because learning should not be something that students dread to do. Learning is a beautiful process and encourages students to grasp so much knowledge from different resources. And especially now with technology, we don't have to rely on just workbooks. And I feel like that's where students also kind of hold back and are don't want to learn because they associate learning and reading with a workbook. And I want to be able to provide and show students that learning is not a work, it just isn't in pages. It's with the actions we do, the things we experience in the classroom and in the real world, and show students that learning can be interactive and it can be fun and it can be whether it's teaching movements to different equations or things like that. Just showing students that learning is more than a textbook is also a reason why because I feel like I've always struggled with reading and I've done that because when I was learning English and throughout elementary, I associated reading with just a workbook. And it wasn't until middle school that I learned that reading is an amazing outlet, that you also gain so much knowledge, whether it's fiction, nonfiction, comic books, fantasy, sci-fi. There's so many genres that you can choose from. Reading is not just learning to work in a workbook. It's not. So I think it's also important to teach students to use the different resources around them and teach them that learning is something fun and encourage them to continue to want to learn.